what are emotions? We think there's something intrinsically human. Take for example the character Spock from Star Trek, which is alien precisely because he had no emotions. But what are they concretely? Why do we feel them, and why do we feel such an urge to do what we feel? Emotions in themselves are not something magical. They are signals about the environment and yourself. Because in the wilderness where we evolved, we did not have time to evaluate every situation, to take every factor into account, and to do, I don't know, cost-benefit analysis and decide, are we going to hunt for the gazelle that way or that way? It would have taken us probably half a day, and at that time the gazelle was long gone and we would be eaten by a tiger. So we evolved to have this thing called emotions. Emotions are basically a hyper summary of the situation. They are a one-word summary of something that would take 500 pages to describe in detail. So instead of making the cost-benefit analysis go right or left, we have an emotion that is a summary of all the data showing us we should go right or we should go left. But that's a practical example. There's also a summary of what happens inside and of the factors outside. So when you feel lonely, basically it's a summary telling you that the lack of social contact is making you sick. It is harmful to you. When you feel afraid, it is a signal to tell you that you should be careful, there is danger. When you feel depressed, it might be a signal that something is making you sick, not just of what we usually call factors of emotions, namely social interactions. You might be depressed not because you had a fight with someone at work, you might be depressed because something is wrong with your body. So the trick with emotions is not to ignore them. We shouldn't become Spock because
live long and prosper.
It would be highly disadvantageous for us. Rather, the trick is to acknowledge emotions, to take that information into account, but not to be ruled by emotions. So success, I think, is acknowledging, for example, that you are afraid of a situation, but then deciding what you do, taking fear into account as one of the factors, not the sole factor. So you might decide to go ahead despite the fear, or you might decide to take the fear into account and stop. For example, we are afraid of public speaking, but it's mostly disadvantageous to not publicly speak. We are also afraid of jumping from the 20th story of a building, and it is very good that we should take that fear into account and not jump. So, the next time you feel an emotion, stop, think what it means, then decide. Did you like this video? Was it at all useful? Then click subscribe now. Thank you.